So, can you do it from there?
Yes.
All right. We have to.
All right. Good afternoon. Good morning.
And I always remind him to talk slowly. He gets wound, so let's take it slow.
Yes, I'll talk slowly. I'm Bennet Omalu, Dr. Omalu. I'm a forensic pathologist and neuropathologist. I was retained by the attorneys that represent the family to perform a second autopsy. I began the autopsy on March the 27th at approximately 10:58 a.m. in the morning. And essentially, at the second autopsy, there were a total of 8 gunshot wounds. A total of 8 gunshot wounds, meaning that he was hit by 8 bullets. Now, gunshot wound number 8 was the only gunshot wound located in the front of the body. It was located, like you could see, in the lower anterior thigh on the left side. It exhibited a very acute angled
Sequence you can give them, and I know you said that the numbers don't indicate sequentially how they occurred, but could you explain that for us?
Okay. In forensic pathology, there is a process we call clinical pathologic correlation, and I repeat it, CPC for short, clinical pathologic correlation. The autopsy findings must be independent of any suggested proposition. When I was doing the autopsy, I was not aware of any proposition whatsoever. So when I documented and confirmed the prevailing the prevailing autopsy evidence, I now correlated it with the videographic documentation of the terminal forensic scenario. So you would see in the video, if I may step aside slightly, the police officers were to the side of the house, and he was behind the house with his left side facing the officers. So the first shot he received would be number 7 to the left side and back of his chest, and the propulsion of the bullet and the injuries caused made him shove him around, and he turned around, and his back was facing the officers. If you see the video, he was shot first, he turned around, projected him, and immediately he received a cluster of subsequent bullets, which immediately dropped him. And then you could see in the video, his left thigh actually went up. That was when he received gunshot wound number 8. So, the proposition that has been presented that he was assailing the officers, meaning he was facing the officers, is inconsistent with the prevailing forensic evidence as documented at autopsy. And I will stop at that.
Okay.
Show me your hands! Good!
Bennet Omalu, hired by the Clark family to conduct a private autopsy, says his conclusion is supported by video from a law enforcement helicopter that captured the shooting with a heat-detecting camera. The same video, viewed by others, can seem to suggest that Clark was moving toward the officers. The day after the shooting, the police department said in a statement, the suspect turned and advanced toward the officers while holding an object which was extended in front of him. The officers believed the suspect was pointing a firearm at them.
Dr. Bennet Omalu is the county's chief forensic pathologist. He famously discovered a degenerative brain disease called CTE that has been detected in football players after they have died. The sheriff made their jobs unbearable and modified several autopsy reports and even ordered technicians to remove a person's hands without their knowledge. Last week, Sheriff Moore denied all allegations.
And I went and I watched him, and he sees himself as a deliverer of souls, you know. So he's playing music, he's talking to the person, and he sort of sees himself delivering the soul from this world to the next. Yeah, so as an actor, it was just ecstatic to find that depth of interesting character.
So when we expose these children to contact sports and they receive repetitive blows to their head, we are undermining their intelligence. We are making them less competitive in the global economy.
Yeah.
And in fact, there was a paper that came out from Sweden in 2016. It shows that the impact of concussions in sports undermines the American GDP by $1.1 trillion over 30 years.
Wow.
Because of the diminished intelligence and the...
Hillary Clinton is definitely not being poisoned by the Russians. So why is one famous doctor raising the possibility in the first place? Dr. Bennet Omalu is the forensic pathologist who first published findings about chronic traumatic encephalopathy in football players, sparking a debate about how the NFL handles concussions. His work has been widely lauded, and his story was dramatized in the Will Smith film Concussion. His latest expose is somewhat less plausible. After Clinton stumbled while leaving a 9/11 ceremony, Omalu speculated she might have been poisoned. He then pointed fingers at Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, saying, quote, "With those two, all things are possible." By speculating on Clinton's health from afar, Omalu joins a long line of physicians who've injected their perspective on how physically and mentally fit the candidates are without ever examining them. To tamp down the speculation, Clinton's doctor recently released an updated summary of the candidates' health. That note, which included blood work results, didn't mention anything about poisons, Russian or otherwise.